Good morning and good afternoon and good evening to everyone around the world. So we are trying to stream on Instagram as well. We're hoping that that works, and it's so nice to be here. Happy Gregorian New Year. Here we are, 2024. Oh my goodness. And let's see here. Today, sorry, there's so many different new things we're doing. Streaming. So today, Pete and I decided to talk about, as it's titled, these journeys to our true value, self-assurance. And I had written value twice kind of by accident, and I thought, well, maybe it's not an accident. Maybe there's kind of, you know, there's so many kinds of values, and maybe there's what is really your true value, and maybe there's like some other values that we kind of hold in our like logical conscious mind, and maybe there's more truer values that are deeper and internal. And so it kind of got me thinking in that way. But Pete, you had mentioned that you've been working with some clients around this, so I'd love to hear what that's about.
Yeah, it's been I say a hot topic, I would say typically around the new year, it comes up more.
Right.
Because I think a lot of us go through our daily lives not really understanding our value. We think it can be raised and lowered as things happen. And for a lot of people, just Christmas time, New Year's is a very tough time, right? It's realistically a time of transition for all of us. And then I've learned when I talk to people and I go, what does self-worth mean? We really don't have an answer, and I think that's why it can feel like it fluctuates more than it actually does. And so for me, I look at self-worth and personal value as our ability to recognize our unique qualities, our skills, our potential. Right? But it's also, I think, natural for us to go, yeah, but the outside doesn't reflect that, And I think that's where the big contradiction for a lot of the people I work with comes in, is because they go, yeah, I know I'm unique, right? I know I have skills, and I know I can do great things, but the area I'm in says otherwise. So how can I have value if that doesn't show value? If everything around me is dirt and lack of a better term, garbage, right? Not that it is garbage,
right?
But it contradicts with each other. And I think that's where people struggle, is they're trying to look at both. I know for me, that was something I did for the longest time. I would be like, well, how can I, think I'm better than I am when things aren't going the way I wanted it to go? And I forget who said it, but it was a really cool quote where it goes, you can't be the oppressor and the hero at the same time. You have to be willing to let go of one for the other. And I find with our value, it's the same thing, right? We can't look at external things and internal things and find value. We have to let go of one for the other.
Yeah, it's really kind of on topic and on point, in just what I've been learning about and working through recently, which is like there's the conscious and the subconscious. So we have these like conscious and logical, value systems and, ways that we rate whether it's being, our value is being received, or, just kind of like what these reflections are. And then there's like these really deeper internal values that are sometimes they're so deep in our subconscious that we don't even know we're running them. Right. And then there's ones that we feel so strong, but maybe we're being run by something else. And then our conscious and logic, or the state that we're in, doesn't allow us to like fully express them. And so it seems to be, you know, I find that, right now I'm working with someone who really knows how to listen to the subconscious. And I found that it's she's has decades more experience than me. And I will get to that point, but working with her, um, I'm just noticing how many layers and levels there are, and the way that a person can listen to you and help you listen to your subconscious, like, so deep down. And, I haven't yet experienced that. I've totally experienced, and I experience almost daily listening, talking to my subconscious and other people's, but this was like every time you think that you're down at the, like, bottom, no way. I'm gonna say from my experience and from what I've read, I mean, it just keeps
Yes.
going, like the layers of the earth, you know? If you get to the core, you're just gonna end up going out the other side. So, um, that's been really fascinating too, that just that level of depth
Yeah.
and just, for people who are think about their own values or that they're not being valued or they can't live their values. Um, I think it's just nice to remind ourselves and others that there's actually it's not one sided. It's not one dimensional.
Yeah. It's really to me a lifelong process.
Yeah.
Like there should never be an end in sight. And I feel like that's a trap. I get a lot of people who like meditate, right? On a consistent, regular basis. And they're always like, Pete, like I hit Zen. And I'm like, awesome, but no, at the same time, because there's always more, right? There's always something inside us that nobody, as far as I've met, is perfect, right? Even with all the work we do with ourselves and with our clients and on our, there's always that, like you said, deeper layer,
Yeah.
you know, and oh man, I forget. It might have been Boston University, who they did a study where educated people think they're smarter than everyone else, and that becomes their downfall.
Hmm.
And this is one of those times where people get so accustomed to what they're doing that they forget that this is a lifelong journey.
Mm.
There's always another layer, you know.
And
Um,
that it's not static. I think, for us all to remember as, just human beings, as practitioners, or as people who are trying to journey and learn more about themselves, right? Is that there's just um, where you are, where you've been doesn't have to be static.
yeah,
Right? But, you know, so let's get into like some tips for people, and then we'll go into the guided meditation to give a tool for, a way to tap in. But let's talk for a few minutes about some tips of how you can start to, the way I'm seeing it right now is like how to crack open maybe this facade of this one-sided, one-faced logical, these are my values, or they can't be changed, or I am like this,
yeah,
and something like that.
yeah. So there's two exercises that were taught to me, and a lot of people know them, but I find them to be extremely, extremely helpful. And it's to help us understand our true value of ourselves despite what's going on in our current life right now, right? So for a lot of us, I have $100 bill. If I was like, hey, for everyone out there, if I were to give you this $100 bill, would it make your life better, right? Would you want it? And most people go yes, right? I go, all right, so what if I fold it in half? Would you still want it? It's like, well, no, it's damaged, but you'd be like, of course I still want it. Like if I crumpled it up, would all of a sudden you be like, no, I don't want that? Or would you be like, it's still $100, like I still want it, right? If I stomp on it, if I throw it in the garbage, will you go through and be like, it's still $100, I want it? Most of us, including myself, would say yes, it's still worth $100. And even though it went through so much turmoil and, being beaten up and discarded and thrown in the trash, it never lost its value. Right. So that's one where, for me, I always learned that when we really look at ourselves that way, we realize our value doesn't change even when we're in garbage, when we're in bad times, where we're being stepped on and being abused, we still are worth our value. Now, the second part comes in really good because that's all well and good, but what if I don't think I'm valuable? You know, and that's where the next thought process really helped me expand, where it goes, all right, here's the deal. I'm going to give you $1 million. Would that change your life? Most of us would say yes. I go, great. What if I came with two stipulations? One is you can't give it to anyone else. And two, you won't wake up tomorrow. How many of you would still want that $1 million? Hopefully none of us listening, right? But what if I said 10 million, 100 million, a billion? If you said no to all of those, that means you value your life with everything going on right now more than $10 billion. But are you treating it as such?
Hmm.
You know?
That's so deep, you know? I think that's a really great reflection, is just to think for a second, you know? If you were to not choose all of that money, because if you chose it, the next day you don't have your life, that really opens up just a reminder to yourself that there's some value right there,
Yeah.
even though
Right.
it doesn't feel like it. It's great. I love that. What a great way to make you think
Just
about.
in question, right?
Yeah.
It's it was one for me where the the outcome for me when I first heard those two kind of, and I didn't even hear them back to back. Like these were two separate people, and I'm like, man, they should get together and do this.
Yeah.
But it allowed me to start making different decisions, right? And started allowing me to make more calculated risks,
Mhm.
you know, and even to persevere when I was met with challenges,
Mhm.
you know, because I go, no, like I'm worth more than $10 billion.
Mm.
Like, if I'm worth that, then man, I'm not going to settle
Mm.
for this low life. And even though it's around me, even though I could be the $100 in the garbage, I'm worth infinite more than that $100. So my value doesn't change. I'm still worth that.
Mhm.
And I'm going to just start acting and thinking, being worth that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that that is one of the great things about these questions that come up, like within therapies and hypnosis, where sometimes, so often, all we need is a question that just gets you to think, and it gets you out of the way you've been thinking, to have to just kind of reassess. And even that is just so potent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we bring that together with what we're going to do for the guided meditation part, is really being our own best friend,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
Because this is where I think for all of us, we're our own harshest critic,
Mhm.
right? We can go, man, I'm worth $10 billion, if not more, right? But then something, that bump in the road comes and we go, oh, I don't know. Am I really that good? Am I really worth it? And this is where we need to really practice and hone in that ability to have that self compassion, right? To be our very own best friend. Because if, let's say, my best friend was like, yeah, like I'm going to do this, and they hit that stumbling block and they felt defeated, I wouldn't look at them and maybe point and go, ha ha, like you're going to amount to nothing. No, like I would go, hey, man, like we got this, right? Let's just take a moment. Let's think, right? What did we just learn from this? How can we change just a little bit? What about our goal can really show you that you're worth it? Like let's get through this together, you know, to me, that being that self-compassionate best friend, we really need to be to ourselves. We're so good at doing it to other people, but we're horrible at doing it to ourselves.
Yeah, and that's really that self-assurance, that
Yeah.
it is such a phenomenon that we will do stuff for others that we won't do for ourselves. And that's something that I think, it would be great to go deeper into, um, on future sessions, because it is such a phenomenon, and it's very, very difficult for people to really see the value of that, and to see ourselves as someone who, I don't even think people don't think they deserve it. I mean, some people do, but it seems to be something way more. But anyway, I really would like to go into it in more detail next time, But
Yeah.
let's go to the guided meditation, if you're ready,
Yep.
and let's just give a taste of what it would, and again, for those that are listening, you know, these opportunities they're just really small little bites to kind of give yourself a moment to just, like, if you're watching this, like, really see if closing your eyes feels okay, and taking those deep breaths and feeling and listening. Because, I mean, I think I've heard this at certain places before, but it only takes an instant for a change, actually. And you often never know where it'll come from. But more often than not, it comes from hearing something different, or feeling something different, and that can often be in the pause or the breath. So just wanted to mention that for those that are watching, if you can and you're not driving, to really,
Yeah.
um, take this moment, and then you can, expand this practice for later. These are small little snippets that can be expanded and built upon. So,
Yeah.
all right.
So everyone get nice and comfy as long as you can and it's safe. Or get just, feet on the ground if you're not laying down. Just take a nice deep breath in. Then when you exhale, just close your eyes. And take a moment just to feel the rise and fall of every breath. Feel the air flowing as it goes in, how it may feel cool. And when it leaves, it can feel warm. As if it's bringing in that cool relaxation and letting go of that hot stress, anxiety, worries in your life. Because as you feel that relaxation move in, just like that, you can allow your shoulders to become droopier and heavier. You can feel sensations move through your body. Sensations of relaxation, of heaviness. Could be warmth, it could be tingling, it could be something else. But you just allow that heavy feeling, that comfortable feeling, that familiar feeling, just to kind of spread, to spread throughout your whole body. And as you relax, you can bring on something in your mind that's been bothering you, that's been troubling you, that's having you feel maybe beaten or defeated. Because as you go inside, I want you to imagine. See, imagine your best friend is right next to you, whether they're sitting next to you or laying down next to you. But it's not you with this problem, it's them. So you get to hear their voice, speaking out loud those thoughts that you were saying to yourself. You get to see them with their frustration and their defeated and their expressions. You get to touch their hand or their shoulder to be that supportive best friend. See, as you maybe begin to smell their cologne or perfume or body odor, you get to look at them in their eyes. And like any good friend, you're going to be loving, kind, supportive, forgiving, honest. See, as you talk to them, as you hear them, as you listen to them, you get to give them those words of advice like any good friend, any best friend, words of encouragement, words of wisdom, words of understanding, peace, and love. Going, yes, this is where something maybe we got to be a little bit bolder in. Yes, this is where we got to be a little bit more calculated before we take that leap. You know what? It's okay. Just like that $100 bill, you don't lose your value. It stays the same. Maybe you go over the process of, if I could give you $10 billion, would you take it if it meant you couldn't wake up tomorrow? No, of course not. Get to bring that value, that worth back. You get to help them stand back up. And I wonder what will happen now if you take all the time you need to take those words of wisdom and love and understanding and bring them into yourself, into your heart, where it gets to spread and grow through every cell in your body, reminding you, you got this, that you're always good enough, that you're forgiven for all wrongs, real or imagined, to know that you get to stand back up with your head held high, going, I'm just going to do it again, but I'm going to do it better. I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to live my life knowing I am priceless. See, what I want you to do is take all the time you need to really get to know what it's like with all of that melted inside your soul, your mind, your body. And only when you hear those words of wisdom ring throughout your entire being to guide you into your next steps, you get to open your eyes and come on back, taking as much time as you need now just to accomplish that.
All
Welcome back.
right. Thank you
Welcome.
for that. If there's anyone who would like to share any of their experience or have any questions, feel free to type it in the comments. We sometimes see them in real time and sometimes don't, but if we don't, we'll try to find it later. Well, thank you. Yeah, I think that you know, it's a really good practice. I just know handfuls of people in my life, really handfuls of them, that take care of others and don't take care of themselves in the same way. And I mean, I've certainly done it. I have learned pretty much through the hard ways to, you know, um, to do something different. But I watch so many people do it, and it's um, it's such a phenomenon to you wouldn't say you value these people wouldn't say that they value those people more than them, but there does seem to be this intrinsic feeling of like doing for somebody is just the thing to do, and that you'll make time for it the way that you won't often for yourself. It's really fascinating, but just to kind of stay on topic today as far as like our own, true value and that self-assurance capacity, the ability to really use yourself to um I mean, assure yourself, but use yourself to take care of yourself. And maybe this could be an opportunity to notice how you don't. This could be an opportunity to meet yourself, how you know, like even for me in the visioning, the person next to me was me. And then it was so interesting because at first the other person was like the person kind of like the like more assuring person, the one that was like more nurturing.
Mm.
Then with the story, it like switched, and I remembered a time where I was really like sad, and so then I saw myself seeing myself, and then kind of experiencing that. And I think you can really go further with these visionings, like imagine yourself, looking at yourself or being in that position. Be really interesting to hear how that works for you, but also to see how it might uncover for people who have been such caretakers, you know, what they could do for themselves if they gave themselves that chance in that moment. And then if they don't do it, it's an opportunity to ask yourself why. Why is my mother, my daughter, my son, my animals, why did they go to the doctor and I don't? Why do I make sure that they get enough sleep and enough vitamins and I don't?
Mhm.
Right? These are, but like with love and inquisitiveness, right?
Right.
Not
And that's the big thing.
not
You
to beat
can't do it being a critic and harsh and angry with yourself.
right,
Like you won't get good answers that way.
right.
But if you go into it with the inquisitive mindset and the curious and with love, you'll get different answers.
Definitely. Well, I'm so glad that we got to talk about this today. And, I think that, just to kind of circle back around what I was saying, is think about your values and think about them in as many different levels and possibilities that come to you. And I just want to reiterate from my experience working with this amazing person, it's like we have our programming, right? Which are, values that may or may not be our true nature, but they're what run us and we don't even know it. And then there's the ones that we know should run us, but are they actually running us? And then there's ones that we would like to have. Then there's ones that are inside that no one sees and outside. So it's not one sided. And so it's just like a invitation to start to pay attention to the various layers, you know. And there's some that you probably can't even see without somebody helping you reflect it. And that's the power of community and trusted people, um, or um, practitioners. So, how about your last words, Pete, on the topic?
Yeah, I say the big answer is listen. Listen to what comes up, right?
Yeah.
I think this is one of those times where we try and edit things of like, well, no, like I'm different. You know, listen to really what comes up and go, wow, like that can actually be really good advice. But that good advice might mean you got to let go of something that you're holding on to.
Mhm.
You know, because I'm a firm believer our unconscious knows how we got to do things, but sometimes we just get in our own way and go, well, no, I can't let go of that. You know, but sometimes that is the answer, and a little change can make a big difference.
Yeah.
So,
I love that. A little change can make a big difference. Right on. Well, thanks. As always, thanks, Pete, for showing up. And for everyone that came today, thank you. And as always, we're here to answer your questions and to go deeper. And we'll be back in another 2 weeks.
2
So
weeks.
thanks again so much. And ciao for now.
Bye.